This video will show you how to use Microsoft style headings and the insert caption function in Microsoft Word so that you can create your table of contents with ease. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's say you have a document and you need to first make sure that it's in Times New Roman font, 12 points. And what we want to do is make these your headings. So you can bold it, and that's all fine and good. But what will happen is absolutely nothing. If I use Control F, like Frank, you'll get this navigation pane. Click on headings and you'll notice nothing happened. So let's go ahead, highlight introduction, go up here to your heading 1 in styles. Now, if you don't see that, hit the home button on your toolbar, come over here and hit heading 1. That will change that to introduction. Now you'll see introduction over here too. We want to make that bold, and we want that also to be Times New Roman, 12-point font, black font, and make sure your paragraph spacing is good. I usually put 6 points before and after, and that way it looks normal there. And then you can right click and say update heading to match style. Now, once you have your heading in place, you could go on down and change each one of these. So you'll now see each heading pop up in your navigation bar. Now for APA style, you want your heading 1 to actually be in the center. So we're going to move that to the center. And I'm going to change update heading 1 to match. It will move all of these other ones to the center. Now, let's say you also need to have other topics like significance of the study, research problem, research purpose, and so on. I think you get the gist. But we want these to be heading 2. And you'll notice now it will bump this under heading 2, but we don't want it to look like that. You also need that to be Times New Roman, 12-point font, black, bold, and have your spacing in here. And then once you get that, you can update the heading to match the style. So now we'll bump these over as heading 2. Okay, now APA style also wants you to have heading 3 when necessary. So let's say I'm down here in the literature review and I want to have a topic on theoretical foundation. And in my theoretical foundation, maybe I want to have one for, let's say, self-determination theory. Okay, and let's use another one. Let's call this generational theory. Okay, so we're going to put theoretical foundation as a heading 2. And then this next one, we're going to call that a heading 3 because that is a subheading under your theories. So we want to change that like we've done with the others. Make sure your spacing is correct. Hit OK. Use this update heading to match selection. And then with all of your subheadings, now you can use this. So what it's doing is it's building a nice outline for you. And you can use these headings anywhere that you need to. So if I come down here and I have in my methods section, let's say we want the research question, we want the hypothesis, perhaps we want the methodology, and you can go ahead and bump those in as heading 2s. If you happen to have multiple research questions, it might make sense then to have these as heading 3s, and then you just backfill with whatever information you need to put in these headings and subheadings. Now I want to show you one more piece to this, and that's going to be your tables. So let's say we have a table like this and we need it to look APA style. APA says you have no borders, but you have the top border, you have top and you have bottom, and then you have bottom again, and our columns need to be lined up. Let's get this. to where it's all lined up. Here we go. We want to make sure, basically what we're trying to do is make sure that we have everything on one row. There we go. Now it's coming along. All right. It's easier to do this when you get started. There we go. Okay. And then we'll get number 3 in here. Okay, so it's all on one row like this. It's okay if you have some, STEM related classes is a longer title. If you need that to be like that, maybe you decide you're going to get rid of this column because there's nothing in there. That would let you bump this over a little bit more. There you go. Okay, so you basically have your table. It now looks APA formatted with your borders. And if you need to, you can also change this to be a smaller font size, maybe down to 10. This isn't a huge table, so I'm going to leave it at 12. But the key here is then, how do we put this as your table number with for your table of contents? So that's the main idea. So we go to references. We want to insert a caption. This is a table. You would do the same thing if you have a figure, you just toggle between the two. So table 1. And it depends on how your school wants you to set it up. Some want you to use it all on one line. Others want you to put it on 2 separate lines. It's black. And some want this bolded, some don't want it bolded. Personally, the way that it's written out in the APA 7 book is to have this part bolded. And this is actually going to go down here. So it would look like that. Now, to get this right in your table of contents, what you want to do, though, is still bring it back together like this. And that way it will be on one line in your table of contents. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to come down here, and right before your introductory chapter, we're going to insert a table of contents. So go to references, table of contents. You can insert any of these. There we go. And I hit enter there. Okay. And then here you'll see chapter titles. You've got your heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. Let's do this. It's showing level 1, level 2, level 3, and we've used the headings. So I'm actually going to take this out. And this is a good experiment because you can see how, depending on which buttons you push, you'll get different information. So table of contents, let's use headings. There we go. And now you can see that your table of contents has all of your information, just like you have in your outline, and it's nicely formatted. It has your page numbers. You can change this to your Times New Roman font. And I'm going to center this, do it like this. All right, and this doesn't necessarily need to be bolded. Now what we also want to do is add that table of tables. So go to references, go back to insert caption, actually not insert caption, insert table of figures. Here we go. And we're going to use it as table. When you're ready to add figure, you can do that too and hit OK. Now you have your table right here, and you can title it how you want it. Usually they have a separate title for this. Table of tables. You would also have one down here if you have figures, table of figures. Get all your spacing just right. Okay, so we'll center that. And then once you get tables of figures, you can add that in here, just like we did. You would go to references, insert table of figures, change this to say figure, and it would add it if it was there. Now that you have this table 1 and it's actually in here the way it needs to be, you can come back over to that table. It was in the findings section, and you can go ahead and modify this so that that's down below. And that now looks like it should look in the APA 7 book that shows you tables of figures. I'm going to add one more heading here for your discussion chapter. And there you can see you've got each chapter. If you want it to, you can pull those up. There we go. And you can see intro, lit review, methods, findings, and discussion. That's your 5-chapter dissertation. In that, you can see you have headings 2 and subheadings as needed. And it's easy to toggle back and forth as you need to. But most importantly, it's easy to get your table of contents right.